again, is it opens up the chest, putting all the tension in the back, which means you're going to have less tension in your shoulder blades. There you go. Keep stretching back. You can reach low. You can reach at an X, a big letter T. Pull back as far as you can. Make sure you feel your blades actually pinching because you're turning those muscles on while stretching the front, sorry. Very nice. Take a few seconds, let your arms drop because you're going to feel your shoulders starting to burn. That's the idea. A small little movement like that can help activate muscles you aren't used to doing. Let's stand really wide with our feet. This is called a wide stance, also known as a horse stance. Horse means bending your knees. Wide stance looks like this. We're going to do hip tilts. We're going to bend our hip side to side. We're just going to try to dip our hip in and feel that groin stretch on one side. Dip it in, feel that groin. I do this while standing up at the gym, waiting for another client. Just make sure that you're like this, tipping your tall chest. Tip the hip side to side. Hold it for about 3 seconds. You want to feel that groin. If it's too much, bring your feet in a little closer. We're going to do about 10 more seconds. Just a few more tips. Again, you can do this at a desk. You can do it anywhere. Stand up all the way. Take a second. Relieve your hips. Stand neutral and middle. You're going to go with overhead cross reach. Basically, all I want you to do is reach over your head and breathe in from the rib cage. Try not to use the belly muscles. So after you've crossed over your reach, take a few breaths in. Put your hands by your ribs so you can feel those ribs and serratus moving. So after you breathe in, 3 big long breaths. Go back to center. Let's do one more breath. And back to center. Make sure that when you're reaching, go to the other side. You're also reaching with your fingers, trying to touch something. Breathe in. Hold it for a second and then breathe out. As you breathe in, reach farther with your hands. Try to touch something. Breathe out. Let's go one more time. Breathe in. And back out, down to the center. Okay, the idea is you want to make sure your rib cage is moving. A lot of the times we don't use our spine or our thoracic muscles or spine, so that basically we become immobile right here, okay? So if we start bending and twisting, all of a sudden we hurt our backs. So the more you bend and twist just on a daily, doesn't have to be with exercise, just to breathe like this will help prevent injuries, okay? Now we're going to try to do a cross stretch. We're going to go like this. We're going to step over. Very similar stretch. After we stepped over, you want to feel the hip already start giving you some relief. As you reach, we're going to increase that stretch. We just did a cross reach. Now we're increasing that stretch. Back to the center. Big step over. Big cross reach. Take a few seconds and a big breath from the rib cage. And back over. You want to feel your hip. You want to feel your oblique. And last one, big stretch, big breath. Hold it. Big breath out. Come back down. Step over to the other side. Nice and slow. Hold it for a second until you feel your hip. Take your arm, start reaching up and over. You want to feel your spine bend because you don't bend often. Nice and slow. Take a big breath in. Come back to center. We're going to do this 2 more times. 1 big breath in and big breath out. Come down to center. There you go. Last one. Big breath in and back to center. You should already start feeling your heart rate increase and a little bit less stress already, okay? We're going to go a little bit wider now. We're going to take your feet. Since we've stretched our hips, they should feel a little bit looser now to go a little wider. If you can't go wider, it's okay. Just stay where you were last time. We're going to do the windmill, which means you're going to go down the center. I'm going to turn so you can see me from the side view. It's just keeping your legs straight and pushing your bum as far back as you can. You want to feel the stretch to start. It's okay if you're here. It's okay if you're here. If you can get all the way down, excellent. We're going to try to take our arms like a windmill. Keep our head in the middle of our body and twist side to side. This is one of those most extreme stretches you will feel everywhere. As you're twisting, breathe out. Keep going for about 30 seconds. Make sure that you're at least wide stance. You're feeling the groin already. Then push the weight back to your hamstrings. Make sure you feel the back of your thighs. Twist. Breathe out. You want to feel your back starting to work. Make sure you're not overdoing it. Back to the center. In 3, 2, and stand. Take a second, give your legs a break, because right now you'll feel those inner thighs and everywhere else. It feels a little weird, I'm sure. Take a second, we're going to do a quads next. So the stress on our quads causes knee pain from standing all day, and especially if you go from sitting a lot to those new Vera desks. It's not good, it's not smart to be doing all day standing on a computer. Up and down, a couple minutes after an hour is always smarter. It is a good idea if you do work on your feet like me, but it does require, at the end of the day, lots of recovery. So I use foam rollers, I use guns, I use these balls to break down the muscles and the tension to keep my hips loose so that I can go and do my shoveling like I did today. So let's move and let's do our quads. Quads means front. There's 4. You should know that. Kick your butt, pull. If you can't reach down, try not to reach for your foot. Just try to grab and pull. It's all about balance. This is creating hip stability because when we stand on a daily basis, we are always balancing on one foot or on one hip by hip leaning, hip popping, getting comfortable with your stance. So just keep pulling for about 30 seconds. After you start feeling the quads working, you're going to start feeling those hamstrings working, the ones in the back. Basically, they're working to pull your legs up and kick yourself in the butt. They're called butt kickers. And it does look funny. Some people fall all over the place, but when you get the hang of it, we can do the runnings versions, okay? So let's just keep pulling, about 5 more seconds. 2 more pulls, 3, 2, and break. Give your quads a break, give your hamstrings a second. Now you're gonna start using the hamstrings some more. Since we loosened them up already, this should be easier. This next exercise is called a hinge. It's actually an exercise, but it feels like a stretch. If it's done properly, this is just like doing a deadlift. So, if we stand up all the way, we pop our chest up, we should have a little bit of a curve in our spine already. And I'm using the light behind me to actually do this so you can see that this is a natural curved spine. This is lordosis, and this is a flat lower back, okay? So let's stand tall, chest up in the air, hands to our sides. We're gonna push our butt back just about 45 degrees on our torso. At that point, you wanna feel a stretch already happening. Start to bend your knees so that the shin muscle or bone is now vertical, and there's a slight bend in the knees. You can see from the side angle, there's a slight bend. You're gonna feel more stretch happening. In this position, your hands can land above your knees like so. Push your hands in and curve your back some more. And it's gonna look like this. You're gonna stand all the way up, flatten your back and squeeze your butt. Take the pressure away from your back now by flattening out your back and squeezing your butt. Now back to curved spine. Pop your butt out, push it back, stretch the hamstrings, put your hands on your thighs and run them down to your knees. Once you hit your knees, pretend you're calling over a puppy, a baby, anything cute and small. This is what it looks like. In this position, from here, stand all the way up and squeeze your butt. Now start thinking about your upper back. Pinch your shoulder blades together while squeezing your butt. You should be feeling new muscles already. Back to relaxation. Relax your butt, spread the cheeks, and push them back as far as you can until you start feeling this stretch. We're gonna go 3 more. Once you get down as far as you can, stand up, squeeze your butt, flatten that lower back again. Back to arching the back, push the weight back to the heels, feel the stretch, keeping the spine straight, touch the knees, back up and squeeze. There's only gonna be 1 more. You should start feeling some work by now. Push your butt back, lower back has a little curve, arms are straight by the knees, up and squeeze. Take a second rest. That feels like a deadlift. That's exactly what a deadlift movement is. And that's why people hurt themselves so bad all the time. So if you're one of those gym freaks, here's a new technique for you. Next thing, we're gonna do a bent over reach back. This is a very similar movement, except this is meant to attack the hips, the obliques, the serratus, and the chest. So what it looks like a golfer. So this is meant for either golfers, anybody that stands and has back pain, or sits and has back pain. Anybody that does not twist often. So let's go like this. Back to that hip hinge position with our hands on our knees. You want to be relaxing, almost resting your hands on your knees. Don't be in a squatted position. You can see my shins are starting to angle forward. You want your shins vertical. So that means I feel a small stretch right here. From this angle, take 1 knee, 1 hand, straighten it out. That's all I did. I didn't move anything here. I didn't rearrange, readjust. Let's do that again. Here we go. Push that knee straight and look at the camera. As you're doing that, you're going to twist your torso and bring your chest facing the camera. You will feel the stretch traveling down the side of the calves, the IT band, hips, some in the back. When you go to center, make sure both knees are slightly bent. Once again, straight, look at the camera, and let your knee dip in a little bit. I'm gonna show you from the front view. Here it goes. Hinged position. 1 knee is straight. I'm gonna twist, let the knee dip in like a golfer would, and twist and look that way. My arm is gonna be up in the air for the reach back part. The reach back means I'm gonna reach back as far as I can, come back to center. Now, after you do this 10 times, we're gonna switch without standing up. And it looks like this. 1, back to center. 1 knee goes straight, 1 knee dips in, reach back to center. 1 knee goes straight, 1 knee dips in, reach back, center. Keep going 7 times. 6. Doesn't matter what speed you do it at. Once you hit 10, come back to center and keep your hands on your knees. You want to feel your back starting to work. There you go. After this last one, we're going to take our hand. We're going to push the other knee straight. You're going to feel the calves and the hamstrings. My back did not adjust. It did not go from curved to round. You want to stay curved. Push the knee straight. Dip the knee in. Twist and look back. 10 times. Back to the center. 10. 9. All the way back as far as you can. 6. I'm sorry. 8. 7. 6. I'm going to face the camera. 5. Let the knee dip in. Straighten out the other one while you reach back. Straighten out the other. Reach back. Dip one knee in. After 10, stand up. Let your back rest. You should start feeling a lot of work down there already. That's how dead people's backs are. We don't do enough bending over, and when we do, our legs are straight and our spines are round, and at that point, you're vulnerable to a back pain, back injury, whether it's a herniated or at least a bulging disc. Let's just start with that. After the hip hinge and the reach backs, those are together. Remember that. We're going to try to do a little bit more inner thigh now, okay? The piriformis muscle attached to the outside of the hip here, since we stand with our feet usually turned out, nobody stands with their feet turned in, creates tension. So if I stand like this, like this, like this, that means I'm turning and I'm shortening one side. If you're a golfer, you're always going to straighten one side and tighten the other. You're going to stretch one, tighten the other. So look at this. What we're going to do is we're going to take one foot, step out and away, just about 12 inches from your other foot. Bring it back in and try to cross it over without falling over. When you cross it over, keep your chest up. You want to feel your hips on the outsides, but the insides are squeezing. Open it up, step back, step in, and turn to 90 degrees or more. If you have your feet, your heel to toe, turn it in 90 degrees. Back out, we're going to do 10 times. After you keep this leg straight, the one that's stationary, stay straight the whole time. Open it up and close it up. When you close it, you want to see how far you are doing it. So take a look down. Mine looks like I'm going past 90 on this side. So if you have one side going past 90 and one that can't even achieve 90, we have a little bit of a hip displacement there, and that tension difference right there causes the back to have pains, causes you to stand differently, causes a bad day. So from here, twist it in, last one. I'm going past 90 to center. We're going to do the other side. Again, stand with your toes pointing 100% forward. Step back about 12 inches. Make sure the stationary leg is straight. Push yourself forward. Cross it over. Oh, this side looks a lot looser. Back out, nice and slow. Twist it in, and make sure when you twist in, you're pointing that toe in and cross that 90 if you can. Back it out. We're going to do 10 times again so that we are balancing out our hips, because you don't know how many times you stood up today or stood still on one side. And always, always we are favoring one side, especially if you have a foot, toe, knee, hip injury. Back out. Let's go 2 more to go. All the way over, cross. Hold it for a second. Chest is up. You want to feel the hips stretching. Back out. Last one. And take a second rest. From here, this is basically like doing a rotational lunge. And a lunge is an activator for the glute. It's an activator for the vastus medialis and the rectus femoris, which is the middle quad in the front. So we're going to stretch the inner thighs. Some of us carry too much tension here and here, causing the hips to only move this way and this way, because we only walk forward and backwards sometimes. We never really do this at the house to grab something. We do like this. So let's try this out. We're going to go with a little bit of a bigger step than what we just did. So instead of 12 inches, let's go 24. It looks like I'm bending my outside leg now. Like I'm landing all that momentum back there. I'm going to push myself from that hip muscle all the way back to center and stop. I'm actually trying to balance. Remember that. So don't go too far if you can't. Bend that knee. Let the pressure on the quad develop a little bit. Don't let your knees hurt. Come back to center and just rest right here, okay? Don't squeeze anything. Don't tense up. Just keep your chest up. Here we go. Back out, back in. I'm going to do it from the side view so you can see it. Here we go. Back out and back in. Rotate out, rotate in. I'm activating this muscle right here in my glute medialis to push myself that way, okay? And then I'm catching myself with that other glute med as I push myself out. There you go. Let's go 2 more. Push, back to the center. As soon as you step out, you can rotate some more to include a little bit more thoracic twist. Center. Now go back to the middle, face me, and we're going to go the other direction. We want to do about 24 inches if you can. You don't have to go that far. Start going past the 12 that we just did initially, all right? Here we go. Rotate, bend. If you want to rotate your trunk, you can. Come back to center. Those of you that do yoga, very similar to the warrior pose, except you're not standing still doing it, balancing statically. This is the dynamic stretch. There you go. You're going to feel the inner thigh right here on the stationary leg, nice and straight. Twist your body back 10 times. Again, does not have to feel like exercise, but it is. Anything with movement like this is considered fitness. It's considered exercise. It's considered mobility and healthy, okay? So just because you don't go to the gym to work out, this is working out. All the way twist and back in. Last one. We only have one more. All the way out and rest. Now that our inner thighs, our front thighs, our back thighs, our hips are all loose, and especially that's going to help our lower back, we're going to lay down and do some more. This 90-90 hip twist that we're about to do is probably the most important one. It's my favorite. You do want to do it at home. The way it works is you lay down, you bend your knees at 90 degrees. So take your time. Everybody get on the floor. I hope you can see me just fine. Your feet should be wide. Make sure that the angle of them is 90 degrees. So here's the side view, 90. This is not 90, and that is definitely not 90. So from this position, we are going to lay down. Make sure your feet are nice and wide. From the wide position, tip your hip to one side, both knees. They should look like the 90 degrees on both knees. From this angle, 90, 90, you want to feel stretch right here on the top leg. Lay down with your head, arms out to the side like a letter T. Rotate your trunk and your feet and your hips all the way to the other side. Make sure your knees are at 90 degrees. Sometimes you have to readjust your foot that's in the back. From this stretch, you want to feel it in the front of the hip on one side, back out, other side. Those of you with knee pain, you don't have to do too much distance going down to the ground. Just the rotation is already good for your lower back. This is all the way over. We're going to go 10 more, all the way over from side to side. You'll see yourself getting deeper and deeper. If you go wider and adjust your foot, you'll feel the stretch even greater. So after you go to center, try to widen your feet another inch. That's the hard part. All the way out. Let's go 2 more per side. All the way down. There are ways to progress the stretch, and it includes using both legs, which means stacking one ankle on the knee, pushing it down. Those of you that want to try to increase the stretch on this, we'll wait. Go ahead and do this for a few seconds. Cross the ankle over, push it down. After you switch feet, ankle on the knee, let the weight of your ankle and your other leg push it down. All the way down. If your head is on the ground, that's the best way to do it. All the way down. After this stretch, go ahead and take a break. And I want you to go ahead and take your hands and grab your knees and pull your knees to your chest. I'm going to go sideways so you can see how round my back gets. This is called the egg roll. And the reason why it's called an egg roll is because one side of your body is heavier than the other, just like an egg. So when you're doing this movement, you want to rock back and forth. You will hear some back cracking. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All the way back, all the way up. Try not to go all the way up to your butt, just almost to the tailbone. Back down. If you do this about 10 times a day, your back will feel really good. And seriously, it really is a back stretch. From this angle, right here, all the way up. In a second, we're going to try to go all the way to the seated position, okay? So try to start increasing your rock and see how high up you can get. If you can get up to your butt, good. Get up to your butt in a resting position like this. Take a few seconds, get a sip of water, because that's what I'm about to do. Give me just a second. Excellent. So, we're going to do a very similar exercise that's on the ground. Stay down there. That's similar to that 90-90 hip rotation we did. This one is just called laying torso twist. It's taking both knees together, same 90-degree bend. You can keep them on the floor. So beginner version, feet on the floor, knees together, hands out, and the letter T, head on the ground. Try and twist side to side, leaving your feet on the floor. Again, this is beginner version. Those of you might feel more stretching. Those of you might not feel enough work. To make yourself feel more work, you pick your knees up to 90 degrees. After you are up at 90 degrees like so, you twist side to side. Try to keep your head down. There you go. All the way over. Side to side. After about 20 of these, let's say 10 per side, You want to feel your chest stretching, especially if you're hugging the ground with your shoulder blades. You want to feel your trunk, your spine. And it's okay if your back cracks. All the way over each side. Breathe. Turn it into a workout. Now you're turning on those love handles. All the way over. Let's do a few more. After this last one, we're going to try to get our feet flat on the ground. The same position we started with the 90-90, but feet together. Last one. And all the way out. And drop. From this position, again, instead of the wide position, feet together. We are going to do a glute bridge. This glute bridge is meant to, I'm going to show you from the side view, is meant to stretch the spine, stretch the lower back. We are not going to do the version where your lower back is completely arched and you feel a big curve down here and a crunching in your spine. What we want to do is pelvic tilt up. So we're going to pick up our tailbone and each vertebrae at a time, as high as we can, and then lower it back down, one vertebrae at a time, back to curving the spine. So here we go. We're going to pelvic tilt, raising up our hip. You'll feel your lower back stretching and your butt cheeks only squeezing. Back down, one vertebrae at a vertebrae. You want to take your time on this one. Figure it out because this is our muscles that you never use. So when you do this crunch, you'll feel your stomach crunching. Push your belly button into the spine. Roll it back down slowly. Find those new abdominal muscles. Last two. We're going to go 5 reps. Big breath out. Shh. Big squeeze. Big flatten lower back. Back down, nice vertebrae to vertebrae. One more time. Big thrust up. Shh. Make sure you feel your glutes rock solid back there. Breathe out. Come all the way down, vertebrae to vertebrae. Take a break. From this glute bridge, we're going to try to get ourselves up. Since we've been laying a lot, take your time getting up. We don't want a head rush. So get on up. Get a sip of water if needed. We're going to go to our knees, okay? Now that we're done laying down, let's get to our knees. If you can, sit on the knees. That's great. Those of you that have problems with knee mobility, don't worry about getting so deep. From this angle, put both toes pulled underneath the ankle. If you have the ability to go back, great. Just do that for a second because you don't do it often. It's good for your toes, good for your ankles, good for your knees. From this position, we're going to be doing a half kneeling. Half kneeling means instead of one knee on the ground, you're going to put one foot in front like so. This position does not have to be very narrow. You don't want to go narrow because then you're going to be balancing. Just make sure your feet are staggered and your knees at 90 degrees in the front, okay? The back foot, you want to have this bit of an angle. The shin, the toe being underneath it is important because if you're down here, it's a lot lower to the ground, you won't get as much stretch. So we're going to focus on the psoas and the iliacus, your hip flexors. These are things that people don't understand are important and they're connected to your QL, which causes tension. So those of you that have tension up here in the front from sitting, you're going to have tension in your back from that. So, and it looks like this. Arching the lower back, booty popping, pushing your butt back. You're going to feel the other leg in the front hip flexor tightening up a little bit. From there, you're going to squeeze this butt cheek right here and try to flatten out your lower back while this is rock hard and in the front has an extreme stretch. Don't lunge forward. Stay right where you are and open up the cheeks. Push your butt back like we did with the hip hinge at the beginning and squeeze and flatten. So here we go. Arch and squeeze. We're going to do this 10 times. Arch and squeeze. We only got about 5 more. So arch and squeeze. And that's going to come from the belly, pushing out and forward. Lower back is curving and squeezing. So arch and squeeze. One more time. You want to feel it in the front. Arch and squeeze. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Take your time switching sides. You don't want to wail your legs around. Go nice and slow. If you have problems with your knees being on the knees, basically, if you're only on carpet, you're definitely, or wood floor, you're definitely going to want to have a pillow or a cushion underneath the knee, all right? So make sure the back foot is on the toe. Front foot's at about 90 degrees. You don't want it too far forward. You don't want it too far out. From there, you want to have a nice curve in the back. Arch, breathe in. Now breathe out. Flatten that lower back. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. You'll notice the front knee moving forward a little bit every time you squeeze that butt. And every time you arch your back, it comes back. Squeeze. 5 more to go. And every time you squeeze, you want to squeeze your butt and your belly. 3, 2, and one more good one. Hold it for a second and relax. Now you should definitely have felt the front hip flexors more than you have in a while. Now, we're going to do one really good yoga exercise. It's called the Cobra. The reason why this is so great is because spinal flexion. Those of you that sit a lot, you sit and you flatten the back out. So what we're going to do is we're going to arch our back on the belly. So we're going to lay down on the belly, Hands over here by your eyes. Make sure that you have an ability. Sorry, I want to make sure you can see me. There you go. I want you to breathe in and push off the ground. Now from here, if your hands are directly under you like a push-up, it's going to be too much. Put your hands in front of you like this. Breathe out. Now breathe in. And now this small little curve is all you really need to start with. Breathe out, go back down, breathe in. Look up at the ceiling. If you have the ability to walk your hands closer an inch, do that now. Breathe out, go down to the ground, breathe in. Look at the ceiling. Try to keep your belly button on the floor. Breathe out. Let's go 3 more. Breathe in. Make sure when you go down that you are breathing out completely. Relax. Now breathe in all the way. Expand your lungs. Feel your back arching as far as you can. Breathe out. Last one. Breathe in as high as you can. And take a break, all right? If you have a second, do a push-up. Come back to your knees so you can breathe easier. This last one, we have 2 more. We're going to do one thing called a scorpion. So we just did the cobra. We're going to do the scorpion, and then we have the cat camel at the end. So 3 yoga-based exercises. So next one's a scorpion. A scorpion has claws. Let's just call them pinchers, whatever they are. Hands are about like this. So you're going to lay on your belly. Make sure that you have a towel or something underneath your face so that you're not laying directly on ground. From this position, hands out like so. They could be at 90, they could be higher, but let me tell you, this and this is a little harder than starting really low or with your arms out straight. You're gonna feel a chest stretching, rotation happening in the core, glutes activating, and back twisting, all these muscles turning on you've never felt. Watch me carefully. When your hands are like so, turn your head one direction, raise one foot up, the one that you're looking at, and try to reach over to the other side. If you're able to touch the floor, great. Just keep your knees from touching each other like this. Keep your leg up in the air and actually rotated and back down. Let me do it with a normal movement. Here it goes. We're going to go 1, 10 times each side. 2, as soon as you do this exercise, you are going to feel something new happening. 3, after about 10, switch sides. Don't move your arms. Make sure that you feel your chest and your shoulders stretching. Keep your head rested on the ground. You want to curve your leg up just like a scorpion's tail. All the way up and around. Do about 5 to 10 per side. When you're done, come all the way up to your hands and your knees again. So take your time. I'm gonna wait about 30 seconds to start the next exercise. So keep it going. Don't rush this one. It's about finding new muscles. Again, it's about stretching. And again, you'll feel yourself really struggling doing it the first time. After you come back to it, you'll have muscle memory and you'll actually enjoy the feeling that comes out of it. Because again, we don't twist, we don't bend and twist, and especially we bend and twist the wrong way. So this is all corrective exercise. It's going to make your body feel a lot better. You'll have energy. You'll feel less stress. So we're going to do the shoulders next. Basically, the cat camel is meant for crunching. It's meant for learning how to work your pelvic shelf. So from this position, you want to make sure that your hands are on your knees, or hands and knees on the ground like a 90 degree. From here, let's go ahead and sink our belly button all the way to the ground as far as we can. You want to start seeing this big old curve happen into that spine. From here, look up at the ceiling. Take a few big breaths in. After this big breath in, breathe out and push your belly button all the way as hard as you can. I'm going to keep talking until all the breath comes out of my lungs, all the way out until I feel my lower back stretching, my shoulder blades, and then breathe in all the way down, looking up at the ceiling. We're going to do this 5 times. Here we go. Big breath in, big breath out. Tuck your butt underneath your hips, round your spine. Make sure you feel some new muscle. Breathe in all the way down. Sink the belly button to the ground. Big breath in. Big breath out all the way. Use your shoulder blades this time. Push away. You want to feel like your arms just got 2 inches longer. Tuck your butt underneath. Big squeeze in the butt. Breathe in all the way down. Big curve in the spine. Look up at the ceiling. And last one. Big breath out. All the way until that lower back feels something. You want to feel your butt cheeks finally turning on, shoulder blades, and back down and rest. If you did that enough and hard enough with enough muscles, enough breathing, you'll feel something turning on, actually activating, not just stretching. Remember, this is just yoga. This is all yoga related, inspired, even like Pilates. So what it's meant to do is more relaxation. It's low intensity exercise. Some of it's static, some of it's dynamic. But again, the most of this is the reason behind these exercises is to actually just, again, to relieve stress and give you more energy to be on your feet more, to want to work, to actually be out there and be that hero that you guys are.